One of the problems with having brilliant guests on your podcast is that you often end up with more content than you can actually cram into an episode, resulting in great stuff that hits the cutting room floor. To fix that, welcome to the new CCO Brief, a new series where we share valuable insights that didn't make it into our episodes. I'm Elliot Mizrahi. In our recent episode on building trust in a globalized world, we explored how AI is reshaping communications. Today, we're examining a fascinating pattern that emerged from these conversations: the unexpected advantage of having a non-traditional background in communication leadership. Let's hear from our guests, first about their paths to becoming top communicators.
I'm Axel Löber. I'm Chief Communications Officer at Merck KGaA Darmstadt, Germany, which is a science and tech company.
Hi, I'm Shahar Silberschatz. I run Caliber, which is a stakeholder intelligence firm based in Copenhagen, Denmark.
I want to hear a little bit more about you as individuals. Oftentimes we talk about the origin story of CCOs and other communication leaders, how it was that they came to be where they are and what developed their point of view. Shahar, what's your origin story?
That's actually surprisingly a tough question to answer, because sometimes you look back and you think, how did I end up when I ended up? It's funny, all the CCOs that I interview on our podcast, when I ask them how did they start their career, why did they choose communication, they always tell me, I didn't choose communication, communication chose me. And I think it's probably the same with me, because I didn't choose communication to begin with. I actually started out as a lawyer back in Tel Aviv, where I grew up, and working in a law firm. I felt it's not really my thing. I was always very interested in marketing, and I thought, why don't I combine my law degree with a business degree and try to see if I can merge that into some kind of a career path. So I went to New York to a business school, started working in the consulting industry, and thought this is a good way for me to combine a lot of different skills, working on a lot of different projects with different companies. And as I did that, working primarily on business strategy, I found myself more and more drawn to the communication side and the marketing side, where I could work with companies' purpose statements. So from that, the next turn was going from business strategy to brand strategy. I moved to London, and that I really loved. Working with brand strategy for me was a way to help companies define what they stand for. So for me, I think I ended up here trying to combine a lot of different areas of interest and different areas of study, but at the end of the day, really interested in the psychology of companies. What motivates them? What's their DNA? How do they connect with people? But, in a sense, I think that's the beauty of communication. It's about connecting with people, and I think it involves a lot of different areas of interest. So a lot of us find ourselves in this profession, not necessarily by design, but by circumstance.
That's really interesting. I think a lot of people will find themselves in your story. Axel, how about you? What's your superhero origin story?
Well, I studied German literature, politics, and psychology, and didn't even know that a job profile like communication even exists. I found it via an internship when I was still on university, then started off in a small PR agency, then a big PR agency, then actually moved over to financial communication, investor relations, did a bit of executive positioning, communication strategy, then was assigned to do a bit of branding, which opened my world then towards marketing, changed to the energy company, did marketing, and now back in communications. It was kind of a non-linear journey, I would say, always a bit guided by curiosity for new topics. I have to say that I do consider it as a huge privilege that I had the opportunity to work in these very different areas within the broader field of communication, which kind of gave me a very broad perspective around the centerpiece of how to translate a strategy into a story that is relevant for certain audiences, be it customers or stakeholders. So looking at it from different point of views, it's quite helpful if you work in a corporation in such a responsibility, because you understand in which situation the colleagues from marketing, the colleagues from investor relations are in. Was it planned? Definitely no. This kind of floating in the most peculiar way, as David Bowie once sang, could be the headline for that story.
You know what I love about both of your stories? The production of communication is something that AI can do more and more. You hear more that there's a resurgence of the liberal arts mind, people who bring different disciplines and perspectives. And both of you have done that. You've come from different places. You didn't intend to go into comms at the outset, but that diversity of experiences has served you well. And in a time in our profession where it's not necessarily about wordsmithing the perfect statement, but it's about understanding the broader context of the organization. Seeking well-rounded and multifaceted candidates to create a versatile team is not just a nice to have. In a forthcoming episode, we spoke with Dan Gaynor, PageUp member and head of strategy and insights at Signal AI. He shared his perspective from inside an AI company on how he approaches hiring talent and how he uses AI to bridge any gaps that might occur when prioritizing broad experiences over narrow skill sets.
I would encourage folks to think about diversity over familiarity. One of the things that I've seen in starting an AI company and scaling a division within one is that AI allowed us to hire from non-traditional backgrounds and scale the skills gap in a much faster way. We've hired former bench scientists doing cancer research and analysts who were previously looking at the brains of fruit flies, let alone former political fundraisers and anti-smoking campaigners. I'm really, really proud of just the broad brush with regard to hiring. Instead of just looking for the same sort of talent from the same sort of brands, AI can allow you to hire from someone a little bit outside the sphere and bring them in and scale them up really quickly.
As AI increasingly handles routine communications tasks, leaders with diverse backgrounds bring the creative thinking and human understanding that technology can't replicate, at least not yet. It's our diverse backgrounds and human experiences that help us chart the course forward. Whether you started in law like Shahar, literature like Axel, or studying fruit fly brains like some of Dan's team, your unique perspective might just be your superpower, and is exactly what organizations need to navigate an AI-powered future. I'm Elliot Mizrahi, and this has been the new CCO Brief.